everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you an extreme nail that is actually like ridiculously long. I sculpted it, I layered up some nail forms, and I really love to do these crazy sculpted nails. I just don't have the opportunity very often, so whenever I do, I get really excited. And this one has a gorgeous encapsulation that's swirled, and it's got a little bit of a reverse, or not a reverse French, 3D French built into it, and then there's the option of having this little extra swooping leaf thing underneath. I love it. It's got some crystals on it. It's just so pretty and so very autumn, and it could be kind of tamed down to be wearable too if you wanted. So I hope you love this as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
So I'm going to begin by making an extra long nail form by ripping off the extension piece from one form and applying it to the other. If you have regular nail forms instead of these crazy ones from Koopa, then you can just go ahead and layer two of them up together. But now we're going to fold this form and really fit it very well to the nail. And actually, I don't know if anybody else has this joy or if everybody does, but I love fitting a form to my nail. And not necessarily other people's nails as much. That's less of like a super fun activity. But for me, applying a form to my own nail is like this super intricate art process, and I love it. But now with some clear acrygel, we're going to be sculpting a base for this nail. As you can see, I went right from the tube and just squeezed it onto the form because I need so much. That's just an easier method. If you don't need as much, if you're just doing a regular nail, I do use that little spatula tool. But if it's this long and this crazy, right from the tube is the way to go. So I'm going to carry this all the way down. As you can see, I have the form 100% closed at the tip, and I'm going to just kind of pull this acrygel down until I'm at the right length. And you can keep patting it, and this thin base layer can be extremely thin. It doesn't need to have much thickness to it at all. This is really just like a platform for the rest of the product to sit on top of. And this is also blending in from your nail to the form. And so now with some pink acrygel, we're going to be sculpting this nail bed. So this isn't the whole nail, this is just the nail bed. And don't make the nail bed quite as long as you may normally for the length of the nail. Make it just slightly shorter because there's going to be a second layer to the nail bed. And as you can see, you can use that spatula tool to cut away and kind of sharpen up the line because we're going to make this a very, like a soft V shape of a smile line. So pull that down a little bit more. After that's cured, then you can file the smile line into shape. You want really, really sharp lines for this. Like I said, there's going to be a second layer to the nail bed, which is going to be like reverse French. So definitely really file it. So not just file the smile line on the sides, also do across the top to create really like 90-degree angles sharp. I can't emphasize that enough. So now I'm going to add a shadow to my smile line. So I've got a dark red gel polish, and I'm going to be just painting basically all the way up to the flat portion of the nail bed and then dragging that down a little bit and then adding some shimmery gold gel polish down the rest of it. So don't take it all the way down the nail for sure. Just take it down, you know, a ½ inch at most. Actually, that's too much, a ¼ inch. And then with some clear acrygel, we're going to be sculpting the next layer to this 3D French tip. So when we're doing this, the reason I'm using acrygel is it's a lot easier to work with than, say, builder gel for this type of thing. But just keep in mind that acrygel will give it a little bit of a foggy appearance, so that gold sparkly gel won't look quite as sparkly as it was before. But then we're going to file this smile line again into shape. Same thing, try to get as sharp of edges as you had before. The good news is acrygel files so easily, so there's really no problem as far as the filing goes. It's easy peasy. But now we're going to be removing the form from this nail, being very, very gentle because the rest of that nail is super thin. And then we're going to file it. Same thing, be as gentle as possible because the tip of this nail, which is long, is paper thin at the moment. So file for nice clean sidewalls, nice clean free edge. You just want everything to look sharp with this design. So I've got that. I'm going to take a brush and remove extra dust. And then on a palette, I'm going to be layering up a bunch of autumn colors. I think, and I'm at 5 right now. I want to say I used 9 in total, so different reds and tans and oranges and golds and yellows and greens. Everything that seemed autumnal I grabbed, and I was like, yep, I'm using all of these. So I've got them all layered, and then I used way more than 9. And then I'm going to take a dotting tool and I'm going to gently swirl them together a little bit. And then with a flat brush, I can just pick up a section at a time and apply it. But before I do that, I'm going to apply a very thin layer of some blooming gel, or art gel. Madame Glam calls it art gel, and that's actually the one I'm using. Just apply a super thin layer of that and then gently kind of layer that mixed gel polish together. So try not to over marble it because it's already pretty well mixed. So you don't want to create just one solid muddy color. You want there to be these different veins of all those different colors that you used. So be very cautious when applying it to the nail so that you don't over blend them. And then after you're happy with that, cure it before you actually let it bloom too much. And now I'm going to take some jewelry gel and I'm going to apply it in a swirl down the nail, kind of trying to, you know, sort of flow with the lines that are in the gel polish, and then press in some little maple leaf glitters into that swirled gel using a variety of colors of the glitters. I know for me, my mix has, I think, 4 different colors, so try to mix those up so that they don't just use the red ones all in a row or something like that. Cure that, and then I'm going to add a shadow to the next line of the French tip. So going back to my burgundy, I'm going to just paint another line of that right along the second smile line so that I have that same kind of shadow effect going there as well. And after you have that, you're going to want to take and add just a couple swirls of both either like a glittery red or a glittery gold or something sparkly in the swirls in the tip, just to add a little bit more glitz and glam to it. There's really no way that this nail could get to be too glamorous and too sparkly. It just won't happen. And I'm going to build up the tip after all of that has been cured underneath. I'm going to build it up with a few layers of clear builder gel. Don't try to do this all in one layer because it's not going to cure properly and it's just not going to, it's not going to end well. So don't try to, you know, speed up the process by applying too much product at once. Make sure that you are, you know, applying a thin layer and then a thin layer until you're happy with the height. After you are happy with the height, cleanse this nail and then file it into shape. Same thing like I did before. I'm using just a hand file, which I know if you guys watch my videos, you probably see that I'm typically an e-file person all the way. The reason I am using hand file for this is that an e-file just isn't ideal for working on a nail of this length because it won't give you those super sharp lines. And this is all gel, so gel is easy to file anyways. So I'm going to take some jewelry gel again and I'm going to apply it right along the cuticle area, and then apply a layer of gel top coat over the entire length of the nail, and making sure it's a fairly generous layer of gel top coat, just because sometimes when you don't apply it thick enough, it kind of spreads out and creates little like bubble appearances. And then I'm going to press some red crystals right along that cuticle area, and then a couple little caviar beads to finish off those crystals. And if you didn't want to take it totally extreme, this is where you would stop. You would have this crazy beautiful nail with these little crystals, and this nail is gorgeous. As soon as I sculpted this nail, I ran downstairs to the basement and I had to show my husband where he was exercising downstairs. So I was like, look at this nail, and he goes, you're taking that off, right? Because it's so long. But then I'm going to, so I popped it off. I had some Wildflowers Freedom liquid on, which makes it so you can just pop the nail off when you're done with it without damaging your nail. At least that's the theory. I always seem to break my nail whenever I do that anyways, but you know, it's better than nothing. And I'm going to glue a piece of wire that's gently curved to the underside of this nail. This is the step 1 of making this nail even more crazy extreme. So glue that down underneath there, and then I'm going to secure that with some clear acrylic. And this is the start of the acrylic portion of this design. So we've got just a little bit of acrylic under there. That's really going to hold the wire from bending or moving or falling off. And then paint the wire with some gold gel polish, and then apply some gel top coat on top of that as well, but cure that. And then on a nail form backing, we're going to be sculpting our maple leaves. So I'm using a similar combination of colors like I used for the swirls in the background: red, orange, yellow, green, brown. And I'm going to be just kind of getting a multicolored bead of those colors, and not necessarily all of those colors. You know, you can choose just 3 of them. There's, you know, you have to do all of them in each leaf, but gently carve your acrylic into that maple leaf shape. And you may find that your first maple leaf is not beautiful, but by the time you get to your 3rd one or your 4th one, they're looking pretty nice. Just as far as like a base knowledge goes, don't be too hard on yourself if your maple leaves don't turn out right away, because it's hard to get all of those little points in before they harden, just because acrylic has kind of a timeline with it, and if you're not fast enough, it isn't going to work for you. So here's some tips for making sure that that doesn't happen. 1, don't use a fast set monomer for something like this. I have never actually gotten the question of what speed setting my monomer is. Slow for everything. Slow setting monomer. I don't need a fast one. There's absolutely no reason for me to need a fast one. So a slow setting monomer is my personal preference. And then make sure your acrylic is a little bit on the wet side. That'll help give you a little bit more working time. And this is also one that I don't hear as often. Make sure you're in a cold room which is horrible because I'm always a cold person. So I'm like, give me blankets and everything you can to warm me up. But if your room is too warm, your acrylic is going to set almost instantly. So if you have a cooler room, like even like 69, 70 degrees is fine. But that's going to give you some more working time for your acrylic as well. So now we're going to cover our wire with some jewelry gel and then some top coat. And so then after that one is completely, sealed in, then you can take your little leaves that you sculpted. I made 5 of them, by the way, and I'm going to press them into that jewelry gel. So just very gently kind of press them in. Hopefully you don't have to worry about them sliding. If your jewelry gel is thick enough, it should just grip them without any problem. At least the ones on top, I think I kind of held on underneath a little bit. Yeah, see, their jewelry gel is miraculous. And then I'm going to fill in the gaps with some crystals, the same kind of red crystals that I used above on the nail. And then after those are in place, I'm going to give that a cure on both sides of the nail. So this was 2 minutes instead of the usual 1, so it was left and then right. And then I'm going to be adding a couple little details to my leaves. This step is completely optional. It's just if you want to go the extra mile for your leaves and add some veins in them. And I did. I'm always, I like to add little details. It's my favorite thing to do with these kinds of designs. And so just a couple little veins in each leaf is really all it takes. And I did that with diluted black paint. So I'm going to do that to the fronts and the backs of these leaves, which might seem like it's a little excessive, but if you look at the design from either side, you want it to look beautiful and basically flawless from every single angle. And then I'm going to apply a layer of matte top coat over my leaves. And that is it. Be very careful with the matte top coat that you don't hit your crystals because that will instantly make them less shiny. And there it is, the final design. I am so in love with this one, you guys. Like I said, I had to show everybody that I saw it because I just thought it was so beautiful. And I'm usually not like an autumn nail design person, so the fact that I made one that I'm so in love with is kind of a new experience for me. So I hope you love it as much as I do, and don't forget to share recreations with me on Facebook and Instagram. I always love to see them, and I will see you next time. Bye!